Wordle. सदस्यतालें.
सदस्यताले.
सदस्यतालें.
सदस्यताले. Saul Canelo Alvarez. Saul Alvarez dreamed of boxing in the big leagues while he walked the streets of Guanacatlán, Jalisco, selling popsicles next to his father. In the mornings, he served fresh waters. In the afternoon, he would throw hooks at Jose Chipo Reynoso's gym. He was born on July 18, 1990 in San Agustin, on the outskirts of Guadalajara. His father taught him the work ethic and his brother Rigoberto, discipline, when he gave him his first boxing gloves at age 10. The neighborhood of San Juan de Dios still remembers the Alvarez Barragan family and their fruit popsicles, but Saul left his mark on his own merits at the Magdaleno Mercado gym, where he had his first training sessions under the supervision of Chipo Reynoso. Her fair skin and freckles, inherited from her mother, contrasted in her neighborhood. It is no secret that Saul was bullied by his schoolmates and playmates. He was nicknamed El Canelo, but writing his own story in the ring allowed him to turn his nickname into a symbol of strength. He turned 15 and, as a belated gift, made his professional debut on October 29, 2005. The Chololo Larios Arena in Tonala was the space that witnessed Alvarez's impeccable style for the first time. He defeated Abraham Gonzalez by technical knockout in the 4th round, as a harbinger of the wave of future victories. Since its inception, Canelo had already faced hypermuscular rivals up to 10 years older than him. That was not an impediment. With 11 of his 13 wins by knockout, Alvarez won the Jalisco middleweight title in 2006. Much is said about Saul Alvarez's boxing style: that he knows how to defend himself against attacks, that he stands strong on the offensive, that his talent is in the counterattack, or the eternal debate of whether or not the Mexican style exists, and if he represents it. But there is one adjective that appears in every professional review and in every discussion among boxing enthusiasts: exciting. Al Canelo, behind the ropes, excites. Whether it's his repertoire of attacking combinations, his signature counterpuncher, his charisma outside the ring, or his confidence in beating heavyweight names, Alvarez is a media force, and where he puts on the gloves, tickets sell out. In 2008 he won over Carlos Odon Jerez. Also to Tony Mazatleco Fitch. He closed the year with his first boxing belt from the World Boxing Association Fedicentro, WBA, by defeating Gabriel Martinez. In 2010, he was victorious against Jose Miguel Cotto. History was beginning to be written, and this was only the beginning. Leaving school to focus on boxing involved sacrifices for the Alvarez Barragan family and for Saul himself, but the fruits were given. At 21 years old, he won the World Boxing Council, WBC, middleweight world champion title, in a fierce fight against Matthew Magic Hatton. He defended the title against Ryan Rhodes, and added other victories in the ring, fighting Alfonso Gomez and Kermit Cintrone, the former world champion title holder. The nickname of El Canelo went from being an affront to being synonymous with audacity and leadership, and appearing in large letters next to prominent names, who, by the way, have been defeated by the Mexican in recent years. He defended the WBC belt against Sugar Shane Mosley, who would become part of the International Boxing Hall of Fame, convincingly defeated challenger Jose Manuel Josecito Lopez, and celebrated the landslide victory over Austin Trout, WBA super welterweight world champion. Victories do not taste like glory if they lack moments of struggle. In his career to date, he has won 57 of 60 fights, only 2 draws and 1 loss. And in these victories, 39 have been by knockout and technical knockout. Saul knows how to turn the ring into a show worth witnessing live. Their fights take place in the most relevant arenas, be it the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas or Madison Square Garden in New York, with full houses. The dream of putting on the gloves at the Azteca Stadium in his Mexico could soon pass. And he does not disappoint in his performance. In 2015, Alvarez was recognized as the World Boxing Association Knockout of the Year for the victory against James Mandingo Warrior Kirkland at Minute Maid Park in Houston in front of more than 31,000 fans. A year later, 51,000 spectators witnessed at the AT&T Stadium in Dallas the delivery of his fourth world champion belt, after winning by knockout in the 9th round against the British Liam Smith. His fights, there was no doubt, are blockbusters, and his triumphs, celebrated throughout the world. Rarely are there fights as exciting as the one on May 7, 2017. The most anticipated duel between Mexicans took place. Saul Canelo Alvarez against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. The man from Jalisco swept the ring by unanimous decision. That hard work of years of training and sacrifice was evident in one of the most exciting fights of 2017. Gennady GGG Golovkin and Saul Alvarez met to compete for the WBA, WBC, and International Boxing Federation titles, IBF. The match ended in a draw, and the rematch came exactly 1 year later. Alvarez defeated Golovkin, putting an end to the gossip. 2018 was a great year for him, being the Super WBA, WBC, IBO, and the Ring Middleweight World Champion. He finally won the WBA Super Middleweight title against Britain's Rocky Fielding at New York's Madison Square Garden. But his narrative is not only about generating millions of dollars in ticket sales, sponsorships, bets, and pay-per-view. Outside the ring, Saul is distinguished by his impeccable style and charisma, for his love of childhood memories and his Mexican roots. It would be May 2019 when Saul would get back in the ring, this time to defend his WBC, WBA, the Ring and Linear Championship belts against the IBF champion, New Yorker Daniel Jacobs. Saul won via unanimous decision to defeat Jacobs and add the IBF middleweight title to his unified belts. Saul is a man to take on important challenges. That is why on November 2, 2019, he went up 2 divisions to challenge the World Boxing Organization light heavyweight champion, the Russian Sergey Kovalev, at the MGM Grand Arena in Las Vegas, whom he knocked out in the 11th episode, winning the title and ranking as the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world by the Ring magazine. Thanks to the explosion of the global pandemic caused by the COVID-19 virus at the beginning of 2020, everyone was detained for a significant part of the year, and it was not until the end of the year that sports events with in-person spectators were enabled. Saul would appear again in front of his people on December 19, 2020 at the Alamo Dome in the Texan city of San Antonio against the British Callum Smith in a unification fight for the WBA Super Belt and the vacant WBC 168-pound belt. The fight would be decided until the last round, in which Saul knocked out an exhausted Smith to the roar of the spectators at the event. 2021 started off on the right foot for the Mexican boxer, because just in February, Saul defended the WBC Super Middleweight title at the Hard Rock Stadium in the city of Miami, defeating the Turkish Avni Yildirim in a fight in which he emerged victorious again by knockout and lasted only 3 rounds. The penultimate fight of the year would take place against undefeated Briton Billy Joe Saunders in a 168-pound unification fight in the city of Arlington, Texas. At the famous AT&T Stadium in front of an audience of 73,126, Saul would break the world record for attendance at a fight behind closed doors in the United States. Alvarez exhibited his WBC, WBA, and the Ring titles, Saunders his WBO belt. After 7 rounds between Saul and Billy Joe, a right uppercut damaged Saunders' right cheekbone, forcing him to retire before the start of the 9th round. Saul would become the first undisputed champion of the 168-pound division on November 5, 2021, at the MGM Grand Arena in Las Vegas, by knocking out the American Caleb Plant in round 11, closing an unforgettable year for the Mexican.
सदस्यता लें
सदस्यता लें
सदस्यता लें
सदस्यता लें
Wordle